Excuse me. So this morning I want to talk about a phrase that I love, and it's been attributed to different people, one of whom is Thich Nhat Hanh, but the phrase is "at home in muddy water." And it's one of my favorite metaphors about this path. And so I want to share a little bit, some thoughts on it this morning. And it's really a profound metaphor associated with the teachings of the Buddha. And Thich Nhat Hanh said, quote, "May we exist like a lotus at home in the muddy water. Thus we bow to life as it is. May we exist like a lotus at home in the muddy water. Thus we bow to life as it is." And it really evokes an image of being at peace in the midst of chaos, discomfort, uncertainty. And to the untrained mind, muddy water probably symbolizes confusion, struggle, impurity, something we'd want to avoid or flee from. But if we're following this path, it can represent the very essence of life, a dynamic, imperfect, and ever-changing reality in which we must learn to find our own way, our own place. So to boil it down, to be at home in muddy water is to embrace life as it is, not as we wish it to be. To cultivate equanimity amidst the messiness of existence. To transcend dualities, comfort and discomfort, good and bad. In Buddhist teachings, the world of our conditioned existence is often compared to muddy water, which is characterized by suffering, ignorance, attachment, which can cloud the mind like sediment clouds pure water. When we're caught up in craving, aversion, delusion, our minds become restless and agitated, just as stirring up sediment in a pond makes the water unclear. But our path teaches us that muddy water is not inherently bad. Within it lies the potential for clarity and stillness. When we cease stirring the water, in other words, when we cease clinging and craving and aversion, when we cease stirring the water, the sediment settles, the water clears on its own. So the phrase "at home in muddy water" invites us to take this deeper understanding and deepen our understanding. It's not merely about wanting clarity and striving for purity. It's about finding peace even while the water is still muddy. Because as you know, life will never be free from challenges, never be free from uncertainties, never be free from imperfections. Yet we learn to live with acceptance and we learn to live with grace in the midst of it all. A powerful image in Buddhism that resonates with this phrase is the lotus flower, the one that Thich Nhat Hanh referenced. The lotus grows in muddy, stagnant water, yet it rises above the muck to bloom in pristine beauty. I don't know if there's a lotus pond where we go to the beach every year, and it's amazing. The water's really mucky and muddy, and these gorgeous flowers emerge from it. It's just such a wonderful image because the petals of the lotus remain untouched by the mud, symbolizing the possibility of awakening amidst the difficulties of life. The lotus teaches us that the mud is not something to be rejected or despised, but it is the very foundation from which growth and transformation arise. Without the mud, the lotus could not bloom. There's the essence of this teaching. Without the mud, the lotus could not bloom. So to be at home in muddy water is not to passively accept suffering, resign ourselves to life's difficulties. It's to recognize that even in the midst of a struggle, there's an opportunity for growth, for insight, and for awakening. The mud of our challenges nourishes the lotus of our wisdom and compassion. The mud of our challenges nourishes the wisdom, nourishes the lotus of the wisdom and compassion. A key aspect of being at home in muddy water is the recognition of impermanence. We know all phenomena are impermanent. Things arise and pass away according to causes and conditions. Muddy water does not remain muddy forever, nor does it remain clear. It, clinging to one state or resisting the change to another only leads to suffering. The muddy water is also a metaphor for impermanence. And by embracing this, we learn to flow with the changing currents of life, neither grasping onto them if they're pleasurable or pushing them away if they're unpleasant. Muddy water and clear water are not fundamentally separate. They're two aspects of the same reality, interconnected and interdependent. It is the same water. And in the same way, joy and sorrow, success and failure, light and dark, all coexist within the fabric of life. And to be at home in muddy water is to accept and transcend these dualities and see the unity underlying all things. We stop labeling our experiences as good or bad when we meet them with openness and acceptance. They are what they are. Yes, we might not like some of them, and yes, we might like others of them, but we accept them all. So practically speaking, how do we cultivate this ability to be at home in muddy water? Well, obviously we start with our mindfulness practice, the art of being fully present with whatever arises without judgment or resistance. Observe the muddy water of our thoughts and emotions with calm awareness rather than being swept away or knocked over by them. And as we develop this skill, we come to see that the mud is not an enemy, but a teacher, because it points to where we're attached, where we're afraid, where we're confused, where we need to do some work. That's what it's doing. Compassion's another vital quality. When we encounter the muddy water of suffering, whether our own or that of others, we respond with kindness and understanding. Just as we don't blame the water for being muddy, we learn not to judge ourselves and others for being imperfect. Instead, we cultivate a deep sense of care and connection. We recognize that we are all navigating the same muddy waters of existence. So to be at home in muddy water is a profound practice of acceptance, of presence, and of wisdom. It is a reminder that life in all its messiness, in all its unpredictability, is our true home. By embracing the mud rather than resisting it, we find the freedom to live fully and authentically. We stop expending so much effort resisting it. And like the lotus that blooms from the mud, we transform our struggles into opportunities for growth and awakening. So in the end, the muddy water is not something to be avoided. It's not something to be feared. It is life itself, rich, complex, and ever-changing. When we learn to be at home in it, we discover a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. That is so critical to our path, not dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within. A peace that shines like a lotus flower amidst the mud. So that is at home in muddy water.